Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Evil Halberd Gia and others accomplices are here now. Lu Sheng's 11th level spiritual power penetrated into the spaceship ahead and detected the situation in the spaceship. There are all slaves below, and there are only 2 people in the cab on the top floor, both of which are powerful. When Lu Sheng's mental power fell on one of them, he was a little stunned. Then, in his eyes suddenly burst out a strong Jingmeng. Grade 10. The 9th level of martial arts is to condense the law of martial arts. The power of Dharma comes from the force between the universe and the heavens and the earth. During this process, warriors can use the power of heaven and earth to quench their chains. The martial body that has been washed by the forces of heaven and earth is far beyond the 8th level, which is a qualitative change in the level of life. The 10th level of martial arts is to refine the law back to one's own body. The easiest way to determine the strength of a 10th level warrior. It is to observe how much of the power of heaven and earth contained in his martial body. The more power it contains, the more power it has, and the stronger it is. The opposite is true. Before that, Lu Sheng had seen the most powerful person in his martial body. It's the halberd. That Dharma Prime Minister was 8,000 meters tall, and then gave him the guy who was crushed to death. The second is Gia and the green-haired man. The strength of the two is like that of the evil halberd, only slightly less than the evil halberd. The weakest one is Lan Chen. Not even half of the first 3. But thinking that he was able to knock off Lan Chen's 2 fingers when he was 8th level, it seemed normal that his strength was the worst. However now, Lu Sheng's cognition was refreshed. The man with red pupils he had just detected in the cockpit of the huge spaceship. The power of heaven and earth contained in the body is almost 20 times that of the evil halberd. This guy can be used to verify the strength of my martial arts. Lu Sheng's heart suddenly became eager. This guy is hiding in the spaceship, he has to find a way to get him out. Even if he didn't regard the other party as an experimental opponent, Lu Sheng wanted to lead people out. This spaceship looks too advanced, and it must be worth a lot of money. If it breaks down, I will feel distressed. Lu Sheng, subconsciously, has regarded the spaceship in front of him as his own. The question is how to draw him out. Lu Sheng's brain began to think quickly. Whoosh, one by one. The shadow of a spaceship quickly passed in front of him, and Lu Sheng's mind flashed, and he suddenly had an idea. You want to take back the spaceship, don't you? Lu Sheng dodged and appeared behind the fast-moving spaceship. His hands suddenly opened, 10 fingers clanking, like cutting tofu, quietly and deeply into the hull of the spacecraft. Then, take a deep breath. Kaka. Lu Sheng's arms were like dragons, and the star map of the sun god realm in his body shone slightly, releasing infinite mighty power. Abruptly, he grabbed the spaceship that was more than 10 kilometers long. The strong driving force of the black spaceship was restrained, and it was impossible to move an inch. The tail flame ejected from the bottom of the spacecraft continued to enlarge, blooming brilliant colors in the starry sky. This light illuminated Lu Sheng's body. Muscle knots in both arms. Like a devil. Inside the magic claw ship, Chiong and the black-haired woman were quietly watching the 3 subships return quickly. Suddenly, the black-haired woman stared at the virtual panel in front of her for a while, then raised her head and said, "Sir, it seems that someone is blocking the return of the spacecraft." Who? Chiong asked lightly. The black-haired woman quickly clicked a few times on the operation panel, and the screen on the spaceship exterior screen in front of her locked on the obstructed subship, and quickly zoomed in. It should be a native of the planet, with a strength of 9th level. It is estimated that they picked up the spaceship of the evil halberd and regarded it as a treasure. Reluctant to let go. An ant of a low-level civilization. Ha! Chiong shook his head and said casually, "Kill it." Yes. The black-haired woman immediately clicked a few times on the operation panel. Soon there was a sound of prompt. Attack battery 138 has been activated, ready to launch. At this time, the picture on the exterior screen was completely zoomed in, fully revealing that the subship was blocked. Chiong's eyes swept across the screen, and his eyes suddenly freeze. And many more. He stretched out his hand suddenly and pressed it on the operation panel in front of the black-haired woman. The firing of assault battery 138 has been aborted. The black-haired woman froze for a moment, then raised her head subconsciously. Sir? Her eyes just landed on the big screen in front of her, and her face immediately showed a look of alarm, and she even covered her mouth subconsciously. Only seen on the screen. A huge spaceship with a diameter of more than 10 kilometers hovers in space. The tail flame at the bottom erupted to the extreme, and obviously the driving force had been pulled to the extreme. But unfortunately, it is fixed in space, and it is extremely difficult to even advance 1 meter. Still stepping back little by little. And the source of all this lies in the tall and straight stalwart at the tail of the spacecraft, like a demon-like body. It was a very handsome young man. He grasped the spaceship tightly with both hands, his eyes were firm and steady, as if tug of war, he was pulling the huge spaceship back inch by inch. Chiong's eyes stared at the screen, but his hands quickly clicked on the operation panel. Zoom in on many details on the screen. The 9th level can be stored in the starry sky, and the defense of the 10th level spaceship can be torn apart with bare hands, which is comparable to the 10th level's physical might. Every time Chiong said a word, the light in his eyes brightened a bit. In the end, his eyes shone like the finest rubies. There was also an unparalleled strange look on his face. Extraordinary life physique. This is the top extraordinary life physique. Chiong suddenly turned to look at the black-haired woman beside him. Do you know how many black crystal coins a slave with extraordinary life physique is worth? Billion. Chiong stretched out his hands, as if seeing a sea of black crystal coins. The top auction house in the Yamuxing district once auctioned a genius with a morning star's extraordinary life physique, and it finally sold for $1 billion. Can buy several low-level life planets. Chiong is no longer the calm attitude before, and the whole person is excited. Looking at the ability he showed, the physique level is estimated to be at least a morning star. The value of this person is equal to our looting of 100 low-level civilization planets. The black-haired woman was stunned by Chiong's words, and she couldn't react. My lord, is it because of this person that the evil halberd and the others lost contact? The brunette murmured. Akatsuki interrupted her with a smile. It doesn't matter anymore. The owner of the Morning Star's extraordinary life physique, and his strength is only 9th level. There are no people above level 10 in this starry sky. Scorpion, do you know what this is called? This is the gift that the stars give us. It is an opportunity, good fortune, and great luck. Chiong looked at the perfect body like God's creation in the picture, smiled and said, if we don't take him, we will be unlucky. Send the magic silver guards immediately.
Oh no.
The magic silver guards are easily run away by him. Chiong loosened the buttons on the collar of the suit and said with a smile, I'll do it myself. With that, he strode out of the spaceship cabin. On the way, he casually ordered, remember to control the spaceship and cooperate with me to capture it. Oh yes, be careful. Don't hurt our golden buns. Chiong left the spaceship. Inside the spaceship, the black-haired woman was still immersed in the huge amount of information that Chiong said, but she did not recover. The owner of the Morning Star's extraordinary life physique. The black-haired woman whispered to herself, for some reason, she always felt a little uneasy in her heart. Is it because the evil halberd and the others do not know their life and death for no reason? She doesn't know either. Forget it, I don't want to. The black-haired woman shook her head, shaking off the unease in her heart. With the strength of the adults and then cooperate with the 11th level Devil's Claw. If you can't even subdue a mere 9th level, that's a big joke. Thinking about it, the black-haired woman began to focus on the picture in front of her. Out. Lu Sheng's spiritual power detected a person in the spaceship. It happened to be the 10th level powerhouse whose strength was 20 times that of the evil halberd. He didn't expect the process to be smoother than he imagined. Come on quickly. Lu Sheng clenched his fist slightly, and the 5 fingers that were deeply embedded in the spaceship made a crunching metal curling sound. 3,650 immortal cells in his body. It was half lit when the spacecraft was being towed earlier. Now most of the remaining half are also lit up one by one. Then, one by one, the divine fire quietly ignited. An unprecedented sense of surging agitated Lu Sheng's body. The bright star map of the sun god realm. 3,650 star seeds. Lu Sheng's heart was pounding, and the light in his eyes became more and more bright. He licked his lips lightly, and the whole person fell into an inexplicable excitement. The thrill of physical combat is incomparable whether it is legal or spiritual warfare. Come on, I can't wait to feel this, after the 9th level. First hand-to-hand combat. At the same time, Chiong, who was approaching Lu Sheng step by step in the starry sky, was also very excited. He had a big smile on his face. A genius with a Morningstar extraordinary life physique. Throw it into the auction house, and at least 1 billion black crystal coins can be sold. What is the concept of 1 billion black crystal coins? Means resources, power, status, and even freedom. He can be promoted to the 11th level with greater confidence. You can wash away the guilt from your body, stand in front of the star police in a grand manner, greet them with a smile, and watch them gnashing their teeth but helpless to themselves. You can even stay in high level when Sheng, from a notorious star bandit, turn gorgeously, and completely become a real star aristocrat. And all this can, now. Right in front of his eyes. As long as he stretches his hand forward a little, he can easily take all this into his pocket. As for whether he can successfully win the genius of this extraordinary life physique. Please, is this something that Chiong needs to consider? Even if you are a Morningstar level extraordinary life physique owner, at the 9th level, what kind of storms can you find? I stepped on the threshold of the 11th level, and I also cooperated with the 11th level of the Demon Claw. If this can make him escape. Chiong thought at random, then I should just find a garbage star and kill it. Chiong's 253 attitude leisurely walked towards the spaceship. He slowly stretched his body, and the momentum of heaven and earth branded in his body floated little by little. A vision of a collapsed void and distorted light around him. This is the power of a real 10th level peak powerhouse. Compresses countless equivalents of cosmic energy in the body as much as possible, and imprints it in the blood and bones. When you raise your hands, you have extremely terrifying power. In some sense. 10th level warriors are not much different from some gods spread on low-level civilization planets. Even stronger. Chiong walked in the direction of the spaceship step by step, looking relaxed and happy. 1,000 kilometers. 500 kilometers. 300 kilometers. When entering within 100 kilometers of the target person, for some reason, Chiong's heart suddenly beat fiercely. An inexplicable warning sign emerged from Chiong's heart. Chiong looked at the direction of the spaceship, a sturdy body with his back turned to him, with a bit of surprise in his eyes. Martial arts intuition is not deceiving. The appearance of the warning sign means that the owner of the extraordinary life physique of the mere 9th level in front of him. It was a certain threat to him. Chiong was even more delighted. The stronger the potential, the more valuable. The more rebellious the genius, the greater the sense of accomplishment after taming. And those big figures in the starry sky are more willing to spend money. Chiong's pair of red eyes became brighter and brighter, and the feet did not feel a little faster. And as he approached the target person, the warning signs in his heart continued to grow and expand. This warning sign pressed Chiong's nerves, and the sense of relief on his face quickly faded. Incredible. Chiong reached out and tugged at the bow tie of his shirt, unbuttoning all 3 buttons at the neckline. He took a deep breath and sighed in a low voice to himself. It actually made me feel nervous about facing a master of the same level, a life and death battle. Interesting, now I'm even more excited. What a great gift. Chiong's expression was serious, and he had long since lost his calm attitude. Instead, the whole person completely entered a state of combat. He took a step forward and instantly bullied the 1-kilometer range in front of the stalwart body. In an instant, Chiong sensed that the warning from him was enlarged to the maximum. This warning sign seemed to turn into a sharp knife, firmly pressing against his forehead, causing his trigeminal nerve to beat wildly. Chiong's heart was beating wildly. Chiong was already ready to attack, but in the face of this suddenly enlarged sense of urgency, he stopped abruptly and subconsciously used the communicator to contact the black-haired woman in the spaceship. Poisonous Scorpion. Immediately activate all the attack modes of the spacecraft, ready to cooperate at any time. Chiong hasn't finished speaking yet. The figure in front of him grabbed the tail of the spacecraft with both hands, and his hands suddenly loosened. The black spaceship rushed out. The advancing tail flame instantly illuminated that body brightly. The handsome young man turned his head at some point. A pair of eyes are brighter than the tail flames that the spaceship spurted instantly, and the face. A smile full of anticipation and excitement. It seems that he has been waiting for Akatsuki for a long time. Those eyes that were even more dazzling than stars fell on his body. Chiong's hair stood upright in an instant, and a large piece of goosebumps appeared from behind. In a trance, he recalled his past. At that time, he was still very weak, and the martial arts only had the strength of the 7th or 8th level. Because of a little resource, he was forced to embark on the road to escape from the stars. Not only must you always beware of the omnipresent dangers in the starry sky, but also avoid the pursuit of the star police. Those days of precariousness and anxiety. Chiong thought she had forgotten. And now. But this memory came back, giving Chiong a long-lost sense of horror and fear. Countable. Come on. Sheng let out a long sigh in his heart. The power that has been brewed to the extreme finally waited for the coveted outlet. The 3,650 immortal cells that ignited the fire of divinity trembled in unison, and the complex and mysterious star map of the sun god realm burst into incomparably bright light. His right hand made a fist with 5 fingers. A flat punch. During this punching process, Sheng's fist completely turned into a transparent golden color. Every blood vessel, every bone in his fist could be clearly seen. There are also countless golden lines, and the center of the lines is nurtured. A throbbing star. This is the ultimate gorgeous punch. Sheng entered the 9th, after the power system was knocked down and rebuilt. Played. First punch. Where the fist goes, the gloomy void plunges into absolute darkness. That piece seems to have been removed. One after another black broken light visible to the naked eye danced around the fist, with a strong aura of destruction and destruction. The void was easily torn apart like shredded paper under this black shattered on. This punch completely broke through a certain extreme. Reach an unprecedented height. A level, a field that Sheng has never set foot on before. A field where destructive power takes shape. The red pupils with scarlet eyes shrank fiercely, and he raised his hand subconsciously. But the time at this moment seemed to be stretched infinitely, and his movements became extremely slow. He could only watch the black shattered ons surrounding him, like a fist carved from a golden diamond slammed into his face. Boom. The void where Akatsuki is located severely collapsed into a large piece. Understood, my lord. In the Magic Claw spaceship, the black-haired woman got Chiong's order and quickly operated on the virtual panel with both hands. The spaceship attack system has been turned on by 30%. The spaceship attack system has been turned on by 60%. The black-haired woman turned on all the attack systems of the Devil's Claw. When Chiong proposed to arrest the suspected owner of the Morning Star's extraordinary life physique, the black-haired woman always felt a vague sense of unease in her heart. The spaceship attack system has been turned on by 90%. The spaceship attack system has all been turned on, ready to hit at any time. With the full activation of the spaceship attack system, the uneasy feeling in the black-haired woman's heart was calmed down. I'm so stupid. The black-haired woman shook her head mockingly. With the strength of an adult and the assistance of this 11th level spaceship, we can deal with a mere 9th level spaceship. Even the possessors of extraordinary life physiques can kill chickens with a knife and kill mosquitoes with cannons. What am I worried about? The black-haired woman didn't finish speaking and looked up at the big screen in front of her. In an instant, the rest of her words got stuck in her throat and could no longer be spit out. The expression on his face also became dull. I saw that on the screen, the picture of the handsome and stalwart young man punching Chiong was playing. The stalwart man threw a punch, falling on Chiong, the position above Akatsuki's chest. Suddenly, it's all gone. A black depression the size of a foot basin was directly smashed out of the starry sky. On the edge of the sunken, countless black lightning coiled and jumped. Chiong, who had lost his head and shoulders, was standing alone in the void. Like a scarecrow blown away by the wind, wobbly, and then powerless to fall. Shh! The black-haired woman suddenly stood up from the operating position. With both hands on the console, he leaned forward 1.8 degrees, his eyes fixed on the large screen of the spaceship in front of him. I wonder if I am dazzled, or if I am dreaming. Beep beep one by one. A beep sounds. The black-haired woman looked down and saw that Chiong's communication signal was missing. At this moment, she suddenly thought of the three evil halberds who disappeared for no reason. The truth seemed to emerge completely at this moment. The black-haired woman's brain was blank, and only one voice echoed wildly. Dead. Dead. Akihito-sama is dead. Lord Chiong, who was at the peak of the 10th level, was beaten by a mere 9th level. Punched to death. Buzz. Lu Sheng was also stunned. He looked at his fist in confusion, and then looked at Chiong, who had completely lost signs of life, and even the soul of martial arts was annihilated. A little confused. What's the situation? Isn't it a 10th level powerhouse that is 20 times stronger than the evil halberd? Why can't you fight so hard? Killed to death in one click?